Just now you chanted Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amrutam Gamaya. One of the most profound prayers from the Indian scriptures. Asatoma, Asat, that which does not exist. Sadgamaya, to take us to that which exists. Edi ledani chuntimo addi kaladu. Edi kaladani chuntimo addi ledu. Unnadatade. Only one is there. What we think exists does not exist. What we think does not exist, that alone exists. And what alone exists is He alone. That is what it is said. Asat means that which does not exist. Sat means that which exists. So if you ask somebody what is Asat, he will say all that which is not here, which I can't see, which I can't hear, which I can't taste, touch or smell does not exist. That is the definition of science. Anything which is beyond the senses, beyond the perception of the mind and the buddhi, the intellect, beyond the techniques of the scientific experiment, all that is considered to be non-existent. So if you ask some scientist, what do you mean by Asatoma Sadgamaya? He will tell, to find out what exists by experimentation. And if in the purview of the experimentation, it cannot be established, calculated, measured, inferred, then we declare it to be non-existent. Either it is hence proved or not proved. That is the idea of science, to use the senses, to use the scientific methodology, the questioning, hypothesis, experimentation, and proof. All this is the way science establishes as something that exists. And whatever does not come in this way, it's simply declared non-existent. So far, we have only been studying science and aparāvidyā, which has taught us to only look at the world from our five senses, the mind and the intellect. And therefore, if you go by only these things, the senses, the mind and the intellect, then you will declare that the world exists. Whereas if you come to the parāvidyā side, you are in for a big shock, a big rude shock, because it will declare just the opposite. It will say, all that which existed yesterday but does not exist today, or all that which exists today but may not exist tomorrow, all that is non-existent, all that is asat. Yesterday, great kings existed. Today they don't exist. Today great people exist. Tomorrow they won't exist. Yesterday the world was looking different. There was an ice age at some point in time. Then today we are in this age. And then there will be another age tomorrow. Everything has undergone changes. The theory of evolution, Darwin's theory of evolution. You adapt to change, otherwise you are extinct. A lot of things, including our dinosaurs and things that existed at some point of time, they don't exist today. And whatever is existing today, a few thousand years or a million years from now will not exist. Therefore, though science will say, no, dinosaurs existed at some point in time, therefore they are the part of Sat, which is existent. But our spiritual masters, the spiritual scientists who are also called rishis, will simply say, because they don't exist today as they existed yesterday, therefore they are non-existent. So let us get this very fundamentally, this thing right. So what is existent according to the rishis? Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha, Taittiriya Upanishad declares. That which cannot be described by words. It means, words means, it's a symbolic representation of one sense organ, that is speech. that cannot be described by speech. So you can extrapolate it to all other sense organs also. It means that which cannot be seen by the eye, that which cannot be touched by the hands, that which cannot be smelt through our nose, which cannot be tasted through our tongue. All this includes yato vacho nivartante, where the words go and come back. They cannot touch it. Nivartante, they come back. And what? Now your senses are over because senses are pertaining to the body. So with the scientific methodology, it cannot be obtained. It cannot be asserted because its very nature is such that it is beyond the perception of senses. And what else? It says, aprāpya manasasaha. Together with mind also, you cannot grasp it. Some things we need not smell, taste, touch here, but in our mind we can think about it and understand about it. Many abstract concepts of mathematics or science. I give example to this, our mathematics students. They dread topology because it's abstract. It comes somewhere in the second year and invariably the maximum number of failures, people fail in topology because there is all abstract mathematics. You have to imagine a space, imagine coordinates, imagine a equation according to that. It is not as physical as measure how long is this carpet or how heavy is this box or how tall is this person. It doesn't work there. Not even the emotions work there. Like, is it a good person, happy person, sad person, excited person, kind person, soft-hearted, hard-hearted? None of these, which mind alone can we measure somebody's goodness in scientific way? 2 kg of goodness he carries within himself. Or his compassion, 1 meter compassion he has in him. So there are things that are in the purview of science, which is through measurements, eyes, ears, nose, ear, none of these are capable of measuring that. And mind, which does not need physical measurements, but an abstract measurement in the imaginative space, even that is incapable of understanding this. That is the very first declaration about Sat in spirituality. It means it does exist, it's just that it cannot be perceived by the regular physical senses or even the imagination of the mind. It cannot be understood. So it is that. Therefore, when we say asato ma sadgamaya, we are not talking about things that are perceived through our physical body and senses or even through our mind, thoughts and emotions. This is something that is beyond that and it exists. So when we get into Kathopanishad, the very first problem that is given to Yama to solve by Nachiketa is this. Tell me whether that exists or not. Because it cannot be touched, tasted, smelt, heard. So how do I know it exists? We are doubtful about it. Scientists would say it does not exist. But you say there is something that exists beyond the senses and the mind. So is it true or is it not true? That is the $1 million question of Nachiketa. That is Kathopanishad. So very opening prayer reminded me of the question that Nachiketa is going to ask. Asatoma sadgamaya. Take me from this which does not exist to that which exists. Not scientific definition, the spiritual definition of existence and non-existence. So get that first point. Tamasoma jyotirgamaya. Tamas is darkness, literally meant as darkness, tama. It also means inertia, laziness, or that which is only unconscious matter. That is tamas. The person who does not realize that Sat, that ultimate existence, he's in tamas. He's as good as jada, as good as matter, like a piece of stone, which is incapable of thinking. Jada Bharata, and story comes in Bhagavatam. Our great country Bharata has got its name from that great king Bharata, who expanded this country east to west, all the way till Turkey there, Europe, and this way all the way to Far East Asia. It was to Bharata's credit that India was that wide at some point in time. So he became a Jada Bharata, means he could not speak, think, or decide for himself. A person like this, who cannot think properly, cannot decide properly, cannot understand things as they are, but misunderstands them, that person is called somebody who is living in tamas. He thinks, but does not think properly. He acts, but does not act properly. He understands, but does not understand properly, or even misunderstands everything. Sarvartam viparitanscha sa buddhi partha tamasi. Bhagavad Gita says that buddhi which thinks the reverse of whatever it is, that is tamasi buddhi. So such a person who is incapable of thinking properly and misunderstands everything, and always in inertia and laziness, not willing to put efforts, such a person is tamasic person. So tamasoma, from the darkness of ignorance, of unable to think and decide and discriminate properly, take us to Jyotirgamaya. Jyoti means brightness, illumination, light. Because the moment light is switched on, we can see everything as they are. Till there is darkness, we may misunderstand one thing for the other. And Vedanta uses this example of a snake and a rope. Many of you must have experienced this in the twilight, in the evening time, where the light is not very clear, there is little darkness. When you're walking on the road and suddenly you see a piece of rope lying there, you may get scared thinking it's a snake. You may think it's a snake and get scared, though it is not a snake. Only after you go closer, analyze, put a torchlight on it and see, is it really a snake or not? Then you know that it is not a snake, it's only a rope. Your fear disappears. So this imaginary fear within us that it's a snake and not a rope, which causes us anxiety, which even dissuades us from going further, that is born out of darkness of ignorance. One is the physical darkness because light is not there, so the rope looks like a snake. Other is misunderstanding due to that darkness, that it is a snake and not a rope. But when we go closer and see, you realize it is only a rope. If somebody says, no, I saw a snake earlier, what can you tell him? You misunderstood it. It is not a snake. It's a rope only. No, I saw a snake. Let us search for the snakes. I think it went off into the garden somewhere. Can you ever find that snake which never existed in the rope? It's a foolish pursuit. So tamasoma, with this kind of misunderstanding, tamasa vritti, tamasa buddhi, which misunderstands everything, take us to the buddhi that helps us understand everything as they are. Yathavat, as it is. Let us understand that. God helps us. God help us to discriminate correctly, understand correctly, and realize what is right and what is wrong, what is real, what is unreal. The rope is real, snake was unreal. So give us that kind of a discrimination and understanding is the second prayer. And third one is Mrityorma Amrutam Gamaya. Now, what is this Mrityu to Amrutam? Other two I understand. There might be something that exists which is beyond our perception. For example, if you have never seen Mount Everest, you can't decide that Mount Everest does not exist. Just because you have not seen. Somebody has seen and experienced. If you haven't never been to America, you can't decide America does not exist because I can't see from India. Let me climb up the Nandi mountain and see if I can see America. I can't see. Therefore, it does not exist. So, asatoma sadgamaya. Tamasoma jyotirgamaya. And what is mrityorma amrutam gamaya? What is mrityu and what is amrutatvam? We all know mrityu. Anybody who does not know about mrityu? Everybody knows whoever is born is going to die someday or the other. Some will die early, some will die later. Our body goes through these 6 vikaras. Jayate, it's born. Aste, it stays. Vardante, it grows. Vipirinamate, It now plateaus and starts the journey other way around, decline. Viparina becomes the reverse now. From Vardante, Apakshiyate. It starts declining. So Viparinamate, Apakshiyate and Nashyate. At the end, the body dies. Nobody can say here that I don't know anything about death. Everybody knows, at least has seen. Every day we are dying. Biology students, you will say every day millions of cells are dying. Every 7 years, all our cells are replaced. It means we are a new person than what we were 7 years ago. Completely new. When we were small, we were a baby. When we grew up, the baby died and the boy was born. From whom? From the baby. When the boy grew up into a young man, the boy died and young man emerged from the boy. When boy grew up, the young man grew up and became an old man. The old man was born and the young man died. And when the old man finally dies and becomes the 5 elements again, he goes back to the zero state from where he had come. So nobody can escape this. So Mrityu, everybody is aware of. If there is somebody who is not aware of Mrityu, we have to be surprised. Like our Buddha, he was not aware of Mrityu till he got married and had a child. Till then he did not know that death exists. Because his father Shuddhodana had heard that his birth was a unique one. And the astrologers predicted that he will become a Mahachakravarti. He will rule the earth. But in 2 ways. One or the other way he will rule. Either or options. Either he will rule as the great Diggaja, as the great warrior king, and rule earth through his muscle power, or he will rule the hearts of the people of earth through his spiritual knowledge. One of the two is inevitable, the astrologers said. And immediately Father Shuddhodana got really worried. He said, no, I don't want my son to rule the earth in a spiritual way, like most fathers think. Let them rule the whole Karnataka. But as a politician, as a business magnate, even a gunda is okay, but not a spiritual person. So Shuddhodana's problem was, my son should rule the earth as a king, not as spiritual guru. So he told, let him not see anything that can cause any such emotions in him as spiritual. Let us shower him with so much of luxury and pleasures and comfort that he never thinks of anything negative. When do we think of God? When something goes wrong, only we think of God. Who thinks of God? Dukh mein sumiran sab kare, sukh mein kare na koi. Sankatavaste, Venkataramana. So let no Sankata come to Buddha, means Siddhartha at all, so that he never thinks of God. Only thinks of Bhoga, no yoga. So Shuddhodana made all arrangements. He always lived within the palace. Any servant which was getting older, they were replaced by young servants. Before they grow too old and large for the aisle space, they are replaced. So Shuddhodana gave strict instructions. Nobody should be old in front of him. Everybody should look young, fit, fine, healthy. Nobody should be sick. He should never see a beggar, a poor man, any pain or suffering in the earth. He should always think life goes on like this, because I don't want any such triggers in his life which will make him think of higher things. Question the ephemerality, the temporariness of things. He should not even know about death. Imagine, Buddha would have been 21 years old, no idea of death. A very, very peculiar case. But one day it so happened, as fate had decided, in front of that divine destiny, who can come? So he went out in the night. He said, I'm too bored sitting in the house for too long. And then what happens? What does he see? No pleasures. First time he comes across somebody is looking very different from he looks like. Very old. What is this person? What is this being like? Is there something wrong? No, nothing wrong. It's a natural progress of the body. Is an old man. Old man looks so ugly. Am I going to become like that too? Of course you will become like that. No doubt about it. Oh. Then he goes further. Somebody is coughing and sick. He asks, what is happening to this person? Why is behaving like this? Why everybody has left him on the road and run away? Oh, this is virus. You don't know about it. That's why nobody will come near him. Huh? Can that virus come to me also? Of course it can come to you also. Then people will leave me and run away, first thing. Then they go further, it's getting worse. They see one person being carried away on the shoulders of many. Rama Nama Satya hai. Yes, what happened to this person? Why he can't walk? Why people are carrying him? Oh, how can he walk? He's dead. What is dead? Dead means dead. He's not alive. He cannot walk like you, talk like you. It means a day will come when we all cannot walk, talk, eat, smell, taste, touch. Nothing we can do. A day will come like that. Will it come to me too? And he said, of course it will come to you too. Nobody can escape. Then our Buddha became very, very serious. All this I did not know these many years. All this, it means there is going to be sickness, there is going to be old age, there is going to be death also at the end of it all. Then how am I going to be happy if I go through all this? He said, there is no way to become happy in the world. This world is full of misery. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. This is full of misery and it is temporary. Good thing is misery is also temporary. But the world is temporary. I did not know anything like this. Like many of you will shake heads after the Upanishad classes. My God, I did not know all these things were there. So Buddha shook his head. But he did not just shake his head and keep quiet about it like most people do. He wanted to do something about it. He said, what is the way I can escape this? Is there a way? Then he saw a sannyasi all by himself sitting in a corner, happy, blissful, face is bright like a moon even in the middle of the night. And Buddha said, who is this person? He looks so happy, so satisfied. And the charioteer said, oh, he is a monk, he's a sannyasi. So, is he not afraid of sickness? Is he not afraid of death? Is he not afraid of old age? No. Because he has conquered these fears. He's a fearless person now. He's always happy, steady in his mind. Arjuna, sthita prajnasya ka bhasha, samadhistasya keshava, sthita prajna kim prabhasheta, kim asita vrajeta kim. How is a sthita prajna, steady in the buddhi, behave? Does he eat like us, sleep like us, go about doing things like us, move about like us? Krishna would have hit his head saying that, what a fool he is. I'm standing in front of him, live example, and he's not understanding. Who is the one who is steady in his mind? How does he behave? He behaves like anyone else, but inside him, he is very steady. So he asked, who is this? He says, a monk, he's a mendicant, he's a sannyasi. Then Buddha says, can he escape all these things, the sorrow of the world? Of course, yes. That is the only way to escape. This got into Buddha's mind. Now he came back, contemplating on the experience. He had only one experience of the outer world. First time he had seen disease, decay, death, and also a state beyond these three. And he came and thought to himself, I don't think I want to simply die growing old. I want to be happy. I want to escape the miseries of the world. I want to always be in the state of steady mind. What should I do? What should I do? What should I do? And this thought got his entire being. Buddha started mananam. Shravanam was not enough. Buddha thought, what is this? What is this? What is the truth of all this? Why should I grow old? If I grow old, why should I suffer like the other people? Why can't be I happy? And that one thought triggered off a new series of thoughts in him. And he decided, I must find the cure to this malady of dukkha. The disease is dukkha. We are always sorrowful. Pleasure is only an interval between two pains. That's all pleasure is. So I want to be pleasurable, happy all the time, no pains in between. Can there be a state? Yes, there can be. And he decided to find out for himself. In the middle of the night, without wasting any time, he left. And left and sat and meditated and became Buddha from Baddha. From Buddhu, he became a Buddha. Buddha means the enlightened one, the knower, one who has experienced the truth. He is Buddha. All others are Baddha, bound, or Buddhu, ignorant. So, Mrityorma Amrutam Gamaya. Is there a way I can escape this death? Is there a medicine, a new injection, a yoga technique? I can live forever. That is not the pursuit. Amritatva is that which is beyond the body. Extending this body forever is not Amrutatvam. Amrutatvam is the experience of that immortality, that something within us does not die. The body dies, but there is something which does not die. Na jayate mriyate. Neither it is born nor does it die. Vada kadachin na bhutva na bhavya. And not that it was not in the past, not that it will not be there in the future. What is that? That is the question that Buddha started asking, and he became a Buddha. So at the end of this whole session, from the Buddhus and the Baddhas that we are, we should all end up becoming at least a little bit of that Buddha. That is the effort of the parāvidyā. So how do you become that? Where does this whole process begin? How do I begin on this path? That is the next question one should ask. And the answer to that question is Tyajadurjana sansargam bhajasadu samagamam kuru punya mahoratram smara nitya anityatam. 4 steps. Shankaracharya very beautifully explains in 4 steps how to reach from Buddhu to Baddha to Buddha. First, Tyajadurjana sansargam. Give up the company of the bad people. Bad means not just thugs, thieves, drunkards, gamblers. Bad means all those who don't think of God. Only think of the world and worldly things. They're all bad only, Durjana. Those who think of God and higher things in life, they alone are Satjana. Sat Jana. Those who think of Sat. Durjanas are Asat Jana. Don't think of God. Think of world. So Tyajadurjana Samsargam. First run away from the company of those who are very worldly, who only think of worldly things. Pleasures of the body, excitements of the mind, or of the intellect. That's where it ends. Ahara nidra bhayamaitunam cha samanyametat pashubhir naranam. These 4 are common between humans and all animals. Ahara, food. Bhaya, fear of future, fear of exams, fear of marks, fear of what we will do, and finally, fear of growing old and dying. All fears. Same thing happens to animals also. If there is some other animal will attack me, whether my children will be killed, I'll grow old, I cannot defend myself, cannot protect my children. Ultimately, I'm going to die. Every animal is scared of it. Bhaya. Nidra. When time comes to sleep, nobody can resist. They all go to sleep. As if a magic wand has been waved and the whole world goes to sleep automatically. They sleep during the day actually, so therefore. But otherwise, everybody goes to sleep as if swept away by some kind of a magic. Nidra, Maitunam, procreation, bringing out progeny. Natural these are. If somebody is only doing this, why a little sophisticatedly? Ahara means we eat in silver plates, we eat with fork and spoons and knives. Therefore, we are sophisticated animals. We don't scratch, kill and swallow. No. Little more sophisticated on dining tables. No, we need a bed, proper bed, king-size bed. Then we'll go to sleep. There's a process for us to go to sleep. Animals will sleep as and when, wherever. Some on tree, some under the tree, some in the caves, some on the doorsteps. They will sleep. When sleep comes, no animal can resist. So also we. And so we go to sleep, but we are sophisticated animals. We sleep on comfortable beds inside a closed room with fan on. Animals sleep wherever. Bhaya, Animals are scared all the time. You just see even an ant comes, go and stand, the ant will run. Squirrels, birds, anything, every animal is scared. That's why when we went to Bandipur, we were told the animals have instincts, two instincts when they are afraid: fright or flight. Means either they will run away. If you scare them, they will run away. And if they don't get scared, they will attack you. So you have to stand steady, don't move. See eye to eye. Then the animal will think this is a bigger animal and a stronger animal because he's not scared of me, and the animal will run away. They said. Even lion, tigers come, this is the strategy, provided you can stand there straight and look into their eyes. Whoever wings first loses it. Bhaya is common to all. Their bhayas are simple bhayas of life and death, of food and security. Our bhayas, whether I am richer than the other person, whether my children are doing better than other children, whether I am getting good name, fame, what will happen to my name, what will happen to my fame. Anything that we have, we are afraid of it, of losing it, of relationships, money, name, position, power, authority. And finally, the youth, old age, diseases, death, bhaya only. Bhayam, bhayam, batuku, bhayam. Entire life is filled with bhaya. How are we different? We are sophisticated animals. Our fears are also of sophisticated kinds. If our children don't crack exams and become whatever we have planned for them, even before their birth, then bhaya. Animals don't. As long as children know how to hunt and eat for themselves, these animals will let them go. They don't even feed them after some time. They push them out of their dens and nests. Tell you find and fend for yourself. Don't depend on us. But we are not like that. We force them into things, and then we think that we love them, so we build big houses. And then when they don't want to come and live with us in our houses, which we have so-called built for their sake, then we cry, my children are no good. I built such a big house for them. Nobody comes and stays with it. But you built it because you thought you were doing a favor to your children and you built it. Children never asked you for it. They wanted to stay in America or somewhere. Why did you build a house here? Anyways, that is how our bhayas are, our pains and sufferings are. Maituna. Everybody knows. It's a natural instinct. That is how the species progress. That is how they are preserved. That is how nature continues its work. This is no big deal. In fact, animals have a reason and season. Humans don't even have that. You see, all animals, they have a season when they come together. There is a season when they drift apart. And they only come for the sake of progeny. Afterwards, they don't live together. Unless they are a group of hunting animals, which is a different kind. Otherwise, if they're solitary animals, they just go their way. But humans, no. There's no reason and season. Anytime, anything, anywhere, doesn't matter. So we are worse than animals actually. Because they still follow some rules and regulations. If they have stomach upset because they've eaten something which was not good, you will see any animal will go into upavasa mode. For next 2 days or 1 day, the animal won't eat anything. Whatever the best, most tasty things you keep in front of that animal, it will refuse. Our fellows, stomach upset, straight run to our doctors. Sir, my hotte novu, give something. They'll give something, eat that and ready for dinner. Even a lion, so to say, ferocious, kills so-called innocent herbivores animals. Kills only as much as it needs for that day. Eats and leaves it. Does not refrigerate it for next week. Nobody does that. Only humans do that. So humans are worse than animals at this point in time. So what is that which will make humans, not animals? Therefore that is said, dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesha, dharmo vihinam pashubhis samana. Dharma, their duty, mama dharma, what is the duty of a human? When humans do that duty, that is when they become special. That is speciality of humans. Vidya hi tesham adhiko vishesha. Knowledge is speciality of humans, the higher knowledge, not the lower knowledge. Jnano hi tesham adhiko vishesha. Jnana, the wisdom is the speciality of humans, which is not been given to animals. If we only do things as animals do, we are no better than sophisticated animals. In fact, we will be worse than animals because they were not provided with this discrimination, intellect, ability to attain higher truths and higher knowledge. But human beings, having been provided, if they misuse it or not use it, they're worse. So you have to really put some thought into it. Like Buddha, you have to sit down under some tree if you find one here, and meditate on this idea. Am I still an animal or have I grown into a human? Just because I can walk, talk, wear clothes, eat on dining tables, sleep in beds, read and write, am I any better? The four instincts, have I conquered them? When I like something, I eat as if there is no tomorrow. When I don't like, all goes to dustbin. When I sleep, I keep sleeping. When I'm excited, I don't sleep at all. I'm so afraid of so many small to big things. I'm never fearless. And this constant drive for reproduction, procreation, for pleasures of the senses, is this all that is driving my life? Is this what that is occupying the majority of my thought process, actions? Then I have to really ask myself, have I been doing any better than the animals? In fact, I might be doing worse than them. So that is where Shankaracharya says, Jantunam narajanma durlabham. Of all the species of animals, human birth is very rare because it's only given to humans to discriminate and realize the truth, Paramasatyam, the higher truth. For animals, this is all the truth is. We are born, we have to fend for ourselves, we have to protect ourselves, we have to eat, we have to sleep, and we have to give birth to our species. That's all, and then they die. That's all. Animals don't think beyond this. If also humans think only this much and not beyond, then we have not progressed from where we are. Their currency is flesh, our currency is gold. Their wealth is the area that their territory, our area is our lands and buildings that we have purchased. They also have children, we also have children. They also are afraid of things, we are also afraid of things. They also love eating, we also love eating. In fact, they eat only so much, we eat everything. So think like this, that if this is all that is driving us, then we are actually worse than animals. So therefore, we are still baddha, bound by it. In Viveka Chudamani, Shankaracharya says, Shabdadibhi panchirvireva pancha, panchatva mapu swagunena baddha, kuranga matanga matanga meena, bhringa naraha panchabhiranchita kim. He says, by their own guna, swaguna, baddhaha, they are bound. What kind of guna? Shabda adibihi, like hearing, tasting, smelling, touching. Who are bound? All beings are bound, but by one guna only, which are kuranga, matanga, patanga, meena, bringa. Kuranga, a deer, is bound because it is attracted to sounds. Shabda. So a hunter goes to a forest, makes some sounds of the rustling of the leaves, and the deer gets attracted and goes towards that. And he puts a net and catches him. Deer is caught because it's attracted by this sound. It cannot resist if it hears some sound. It wants to go and find out where is the sound coming. Matanga, elephants. Elephants are caught by their sense of touch. A female elephant is sent into the forest, a trained female elephants. In corporate terms, honey trap, they call it. So a female elephant goes, lures the male elephant by touching on the back, and the male elephant goes mad and follows the female elephant wherever it goes. And female elephant has been trained. You go, touch a male elephant and run back. And she runs. And this male is running behind this female and gets caught by the hunter. Shabda, deer, sparsha, elephant. Rupa, sight, vision. Patanga means these moths. Generally they come during these rainy seasons. In the night you will see this. And they straightway fly into the fire. Wherever there is fire or a lamp lit, they go and fall into it, knowing very well that they will get burnt. But somehow they cannot resist it. Somehow driven by it, they go and fall into the fire and burn. Rupa. Rasa, taste. That is given, example given is of meena or fish. What does this fish do? How do we catch fish? We put a small insect in the fish hook or a small fish in a fish hook. And then this fish comes all the way to eat that and gets caught and dies. Though the fish knows its forefathers also died the same way in the same lake. Yet it cannot resist itself. Goes and dies. And Bhringa, bee of Gandha, smell. Bee smells the nectar in the flower and goes all the way, gets totally lost in the smell, falls into the flower, flower closes, and the bee dies. Instead of bee eating the nectar, the flower eats the bee. That is why Bhartrihari says, Trishna na jirna, vayameva jirna. Our desires don't get over, we get over. Kalo na yati, vayameva yati. Time doesn't pass us. We don't pass time. Time passes us. Bhogo na bhukta, vayameva bhukta. We don't enjoy things. Things enjoy us. We are not smoking cigarettes. Cigarette is smoking us. We are not drinking alcohol. Alcohol is drinking us. We are not enjoying senses. Senses are enjoying us. They are consuming us. That is the truth. If these 5 animals, because of one sense which they cannot resist, they come to their ruin, then Shankaracharya says, Naraha panchabhiranchita kim. All 5 are there in a human. So what should be the tragedy of a man or a human? Shabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha, everything attracts him in all directions. How will such a man escape ruin? The Shankaracharya laments. It is so very, very profound. So what is the way out of this misery that we bring upon ourselves? Because we are driven by our senses and the mind and emotions and desires and attachments. What is the way out of this? That is the question of Buddha. What is the way out? Is there a way out at all? If yes, how? And that is where Buddha became a Buddha, because he went out, all out, to find the answer to this question. What is the solution to dukkha? How do I find sukha? So the whole goal of human life can be put together in just one phrase: dukkha nivritti, sukha prapti. To get rid of all that which is unpleasant and to attain that is happiness. Can anybody say this is not the goal of their life? Everybody is following this only. Dukkha nivritti, I don't want to be sad. Sukha prapti, I want to be happy. But can we be eternally happy is the question we have to ask. We can be happy Monday. Tuesday we are sorrowful. Wednesday we are happy again. Thursday we are more miserable. Is that the way we want to live the rest of our lives? Or is there a way that while we live our lives as we are living, eating, teaching, studying, going about doing our activities, can we live in a way that our happiness does not become fleeting? It comes and stays. In fact, it only grows and becomes more intense, but does not disappear. It does not depend on things of the outside, because outside things will vanish. So happiness will also vanish. Is there a way that this happiness can be attained from within, which will stay forever? These are the questions that one has to ask. So questioning is the central of every education. If you don't question, if our Newton did not question why this apple is falling, not that people had not seen apple falling before. Everybody saw apple falling down only. Nobody saw apple flying up. But before Newton, why was that no scientist ever observed and asked this question? If somebody else had asked, maybe they would have discovered this law of gravity and they would have become well known in the scientific history of the world. But it was given to Newton to think. Therefore, thinking is core of learning. Thinking means questioning. Questioning means finding an answer. How to find an answer? Through experimentation or experience. This is the spiritual pursuit. First, think, observe. Don't close your eyes and let it pass. Then you have missed. First, observe, think. Next, question. Why this way? Why not another way? Third, find the answer. How? Through some methodology. Science will say experiment. Spirituality will say experience. And finally, after you find the answer to the question, you are a wise person. You know something more than what you knew before. You are educated. You are literate now. You are illumined. So that is the pursuit. Why I gave this big background for Kathopanishad? Because this is Kathopanishad. There is a person who questions. There is a person who answers. But how does this person question? He has observed. He has thought, analyzed carefully about all that he has seen in the world. And he has come to a conclusion that I am not satisfied with all this. There is something that I do not know which I want to know. And I must find it out from the knower of this truth. Because if somebody else tells me, I'm not satisfied, I want the best of the professors to teach me this subject. It is so dear to me. So he goes to the best of the teachers who knows, learns from that person the methodology to discover this truth, and finally, how to attain this truth and become one with the truth. That is the whole essence of Kathopanishad. The only difference is that these questions are not pertaining to the world outside. When there is a question pertaining to the world outside, it becomes aparāvidyā. When it is pertaining to the inside, it becomes parāvidyā. So all the questioning that you have done in your classrooms, in your labs, practicals, and also doing examinations, what is the answer to that question? All that questioning is only connected to aparāvidyā, the outside. Now you will say biology is inside. Biology is about me, so I am asking about inside. Where is my stomach? Where is my kidney? Where is my brain? Difficult to find, but must be there somewhere. But biology is not you. Psychology is not you. Okay, forget the biology. All the questions related to psychology and sciences related to the psychiatry and things like that. What about that? That is also about me. I'm asking questions within. No, mind is also not you. Our Upanishads will say and discard. He says anything that you can observe as different from you is not you. I can observe this tumbler. This is different from me because I can see it. I am the seer. Therefore, it is not me. If I can observe this kerchief as different from me, it is not me. If I can observe this body, this is not me. If I can observe my mind and thought process, my thoughts and mind is not me. Then who am I? The observer is me. The seer is me. The knower is me. So the knower is different from the body. The knower is different from the mind. It is a knower by itself. There is something behind all this. That is the Upanishadic truth. And if you observe carefully, you will know this is called Drigdrishya Viveka. Let me touch upon it. Because through these Upanishadic classes, I have to touch upon several Advaitic Siddhantas, which will help us discriminate. So Drigdrishya Viveka of Vidyaranya Swami, who was the preceptor of Hakka Bukka of Vijayanagara Empire. He was a great Swami. It is to his credit that he prepared Hakka and Bukka, who were otherwise captured by the Muslim army, and trained them to develop a kingdom called Vijayanagara, which resisted the invasion of the foreign forces, especially those which were very, very destructive to our Indian spiritual culture. This kingdom resisted, you know that. It's very near. We have a Hampi campus there, very close to Vijayanagara old empire. That is where he built this. Vidyaranya Swami was a spiritual person, and his spirituality guided these two people. And he taught them how to establish a kingdom which lasted quite long. And Vidyaranya Swami himself withdrew into the spiritual thing, and he was one of the Matadipati of Sringeri Sharada Peetham, the second one actually. So he, in his Drigdrishya Viveka, Driga means seer, I am the seer. Drishya means seen, you are the seen. So this is a Viveka, discrimination. What does it say? I see something, therefore that something is different from me. That is all the Drigdrishya Viveka is. So it says Rupam Drishyam Lochanam Drik. Rupam Drishyam means all that forms that are there outside, they are seen. And who is Drik? Who is seer? My eyes are seeing, you will say, biology. Eyes are there, retina is there, rods and cones are there, and that is how it all is seen. Perfect. Now tell me, who is seeing the eyes? Do you know that you have eyes, right? You are aware of it. Something is observing these eyes. Something tells the eyes turn this way or that way, see that, don't see that. Based on that, the eyes are seeing. Somebody tells don't see, close the eyes. Closed. Eyes cannot see anymore. So there is somebody who is observing, watching the eyes as to what the eyes are doing. So there is somebody seeing the eyes, it has been said like that, because they're observing the eyes. What you will say, mind, because mind is the one which is telling the eyes, don't turn this way, don't turn that way, and things like that. So therefore, mind is behind the eyes. Therefore, they say, Rupam Drishyam Lochanam Drig, Tadrigtu Manasam. That seer of that eyes is the mind. But mind also is watching or thinking, I'm aware of that. My mind is thinking very wrongly. My mind is thinking very rightly. My mind is happy or my mind is sad. Somebody is knowing this. So there is somebody observing the mind too. So it says, Drishyam Dhrivrittasya Sakshi Drig. Dhrivrittasya, mind's vagaries and the thoughts. Somebody else is observing. So somebody is watching the mind, therefore mind is different from the one who is watching it. And this one who is watching the mind does not have any seer. It is the final one who sees. So that is how biology, psychology has been removed from parāvidyā. They are aparāvidyā because it other than who you truly are. Eyes see the object, mind sees the eyes, and something sees the mind. That something cannot be further seen. That is only the knower. Knower cannot be seen. Awareness cannot be captured in or measured. So that awareness is you. This is what our discrimination says. You think about it. Sit down and observe your own self. You'll realize, yes, there is something behind the eyes and the mind, which is the observer. And to that, there is no other observer. It is only observing, that's all. So that is how this whole concept of spirituality has come, that aparāvidyā is all about that, which can be seen, which can be experienced outside you, including your own eyes and your own mind, your thoughts. And parāvidyā pertains to all that which is other than aparāvidyā. So it is all that which is about the within, that which observes, that which sees, that which knows. So that is the idea. For example, the electricity which is within the bulbs. So many bulbs are shining. So is the bulb shining? Go inside. No, there is a filament there. Is the filament shining? Go inside. No, there is a wire that is connecting. Is the wire making the shine happen? No, there is a switch which has to be switched on. Is this a switch switched on because of which everything is shining? Then you go inside. Finally find out, electricity is there. Only when electricity is there, the switch works, the wires work, the filament works, so the bulb works and the light comes. So this is the idea, going one layer inside within, deeper and deeper and deeper. This is the process of parāvidyā. This is called Brahmanveshana. Or it's also called Ekatma Pratyayasara. To trace it all the way back to its origin is the method of parāvidyā. Scientific method, very scientific. To trace it all the way back to where it has originally come from. Like light has come from bulb, has come from filament, so it has come from wire, wire is switch, switch has a connection to the generator, generator has diesel, whatever, you keep going back. And finally you realize that all this has led to production of electricity, and electricity is the reason why all this is glowing. So we are going to learn about electricity, that which makes all these things work. Our eyes work, mind work. What is that which makes it all work? Is this the question that our Nachiketa is going to ask? So with this little background, and 10 major Upanishads remained very popular thanks to Adi Shankara, about whom you might have heard today in the morning. Adi Shankara decided to comment upon 10 Upanishads, and these 10 Upanishads are most popular, and amongst them, Kathopanishad is very popular. Almost anybody who has studied Upanishad would know about Kathopanishad. And this was the favorite of Swami Vivekananda. He would quote, Uttishta Jagrata Prapya Varanni Bodhata. That comes from Kathopanishad. Arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached. That is the clarion call of Kathopanishad to the sadhaka. And Vivekananda will quote everywhere this Kathopanishad. I am very fond of Kathopanishad personally, because it has a very beautiful, very sincere, very resolute sadhaka called Nachiketa. And he's all of 8 or 9 years. He's not some 80-year-old who has everything is over now. I don't know what to do in life. Nobody talks to me. Okay, let me take to the spiritual studies because nothing else I can study. No, he's not an 80-year-old spent force. He's an 80-year-old observant, questioning, investigating, sincere aspirant. That is why Kathopanishad is so dear, because if we develop 1% of that Nachiketa's sincerity and resolution to realize truth, it will do a lot good to us. It will bring a new dimension to our thinking.